Donald Trump is no stranger to crude language on the campaign trail, but his choice of words last night at a rally in Michigan is once again testing boundaries. Among other slights, he hurled insults at Hillary Clinton for using the bathroom during last weekend's Democratic debate, and used a sexist Yiddish obscenity to describe Clinton's 2008 primary loss to President Obama. He also slammed her for claiming that ISIS uses videos of him to recruit followers.
Where did she go? I thought she quit. I thought she gave up. I know where she went. It's disgusting. I don't want to talk about it. Let me just tell you, I may win, I may not win. Hillary, that's not a president. That's not. She's not taking us to everything that's been involved in Hillary has been losses. You take a look. Even a race to Obama. She was going to beat Obama. I don't know who'd be worse. I don't know. How does it get worse? But she was going to beat, she was favored to win, and she got chunked. She lost. Turned out to be a lie. She's a liar. And the last person that she wants to run against is me. Believe me. Believe me.
Political author Jon Allen has a new article out today for Reuters on why Trump's exaggerated sense of masculinity may be a disadvantage against Clinton. He joins me now from Washington. Jon, thanks so much for being with us today. You hear some of these comments. It's not the first time, though, that Trump has used sexist language to describe female opponents or commentators. He's really done it the entire campaign. He even takes shots at male opponents like Jeb Bush for having low energy. You point these out in your article. Is this a vulnerability for Trump?
I think it is, and the reason is, well, first of all, he could certainly offend, I think, a lot of women, not just Democrats who are probably disinclined to vote for him, but also perhaps some moderate Republican women and independent women with the particular imagery and the particular word that he used in reference to Hillary Clinton losing the 2008 primary to President Obama. But in addition to that, when you look at his sort of alpha male persona that he's developed and put downs of other candidates, when he calls Jeb Bush low energy, I think most people think he's calling him, saying he has low testosterone.
Right.
What this does is opens up Trump to a female candidate, Hillary Clinton, throwing the same kind of stuff at him, or at least having her surrogates do it. And I think there's a lot more room for women candidates in the modern electoral environment to to play gender warfare. And I think, most men will tell you that, that an insult about your masculinity coming from a woman is harder to take sometimes than coming from a man. So I think he's opening himself up to that from Hillary Clinton down the road.
Jon, do you think this is kind of an interesting tactic here by Trump, too? I mean, if you look at the 2008 and 2012 election, female voters chose President Obama well over both Senator McCain and Mitt Romney in both of those elections. What do you think he's trying to achieve here?
Well, I think Donald Trump's trying to win the Republican primary, and so those gender gaps that you see in the general elections are less important for the primary electorate. I think Donald Trump is doing everything he can to show that he's the toughest candidate against Hillary Clinton, even if it means saying things that turn off, again, Democratic women and maybe Democratic men and some moderate Republican women. I think that it's probably helpful to him in energizing the base that he has already put together. Some of whom like to challenge each other in sort of sexual terms on Twitter. There's the now famous term cuckservative, a mashup of conservative and cuckold that people hurl at each other in Republican circles to describe somebody who's less than allegiant to the toughest possible position.
And you see some of those start trending very quickly. Today Clinton's communications director addressed Trump's remarks on Twitter. Looking back, what's the most effective way to respond to Trump's attacks? Is it no response at all? Here we have it on the screen right now. She says we're not responding to Trump, but everyone who understands the humiliation this degrading language inflicts on all women should. Hashtag I'm with her. How should she handle this?
Humor.
Humor?
Yeah, no, I think the best. I mean, for any candidate who's taking a fusillade of negativity, I think the best answer is usually humor and ridicule. To the extent that she can answer back by taking him down a notch, I think that's probably the way that they would go if she says anything about it at all. I think her camp would like to keep this in the news, but they wouldn't like to make it about her versus Trump as much as it is about people who may have been offended by what he said.
Yeah, make it more about women as a as a whole. A new nationwide poll finds that voters prefer Clinton to Trump. I want to get into these numbers with you just for a minute. It says 47 to 40%. That same poll, though, says 50% of Americans would be embarrassed if Trump was president. How do you make sense of those two numbers?
Well, I think the 50% who would be embarrassed if Trump was president almost entirely come from the Democratic side, which shows you that 47% for Clinton against Trump. And if you look at Republicans in some of those polls, a very small percentage of Republicans actually say they would be embarrassed by Trump.
Do you think it's one of those things, though, that people may say, oh, I'd be embarrassed, but once they get into the voting booth, they go, well, he has said some things I kind of think are great?
Well, there's certainly some evidence, or at least some suggestion from pollsters lately, that they think that there are Republicans who won't tell pollsters in telephone calls that they're going to support Trump. But when you do online polling where people feel that they don't actually have to say it out loud, that Trump does a little bit better. So, look, I think if Donald Trump's the Republican nominee, you're going to see a lot of Republicans come home to the party in an election against Hillary Clinton. But perhaps, as polling suggests now, it may be less than other candidates could hope for from the true Republican base.
With those numbers, too, John, do you think that Hillary could use some of the sexist remarks in her favor? Maybe she does use a little humor today, but even going forward?
Yeah, I certainly think she'll try to do that. I think she has decided this time around, after in 2008, not emphasizing that she would be the first female president, not emphasizing the desire of some voters, particularly a large number of Democratic women, to see the first female president. She decided this time around that she was going to emphasize that in her campaign. And so I'd be surprised if she didn't try to make a point about what she sees as she and her campaign see as sexist language. This is, again, if she can make it about the injury to, or perceived injury to women as a whole, as opposed to making it about her specifically, I think they see political advantage in that.
All right, Jon Allen, thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Take care, Jamie.